It's fun to be here in Gothenburg. It's my third time here, and the community is so fun and interesting people, and the party was great yesterday. I can't remember nothing. So, should you trust your package manager? This is what I'm talking about today, and a bit about me. So, I'm a cyber paladin. Like I have aura of security all over wherever I go, and I have a cool helmet. And I'm the head of marketplace at Cider. Cider is a cybersecurity company specializing in CI/CD security and supply chain. And this is why I have this talk, because the last year, every time there was an incident with one of the packages getting hacked, getting malware, and happened a lot, I jumped over and I started my research and development and finding solutions to different problems. I also organize a bug bounty meetup in Israel. So it's fun. It's collaborating. All the hackers and the security engineers from all different companies have the way to communicate together and find a common target. And this is a very good way of knowledge sharing. And I'm just like since 2002 hacking stuff, building from production plants, vehicles, web, banks, whatever you need to hack, I can hack. I don't do physical. One time I was asked to do physical, it didn't go well. So today we'll talk about package managers. Like package managers are fun, are interesting, but I want to go into old school. Before I want to go into old school, I want to explain about a bit what package managers is. And package managers from Wikipedia. You can see it's a collection of software tools that automate the installing and upgrading software, but as you can see, Wikipedia says it's a consistent matter, and this is what's important over here, because the definition of Wikipedia is always right, or they always tend to be, they want to be right, but sometimes the fact is that it doesn't. So I want to show you if it is really consistent or not in this presentation. So in the old days, I used GetRight. This was a download manager, not a package manager. It downloaded files, and it was very easy to use. It just like whatever I wanted to download, it downloaded it to my computer, and then I had different options to shut down, to disconnect from the internet because I was billed by the minute, and different like options that in the past I don't know who now disconnects from the internet. But today, most of the systems you have, like you want to install, let's say a Dragons package, you just pip install Dragons, or you do just npm install, and you don't know what's happening behind. The package managers do lots of stuff. They download, they install, they run different types of scripts, and this is why package managers are very easy to use as a developer, but very hard to secure as a security engineer. And this is like if I want to install one package, but when I download a repo from the internet or a repo from my developer source code, I just run pip install dot or npm install or bundle install, and everything happens automatically. It downloads everything that is needed, and I don't really know what's happening over there. But first of all, how does a package look like? So I took a very basic package, and actually I looked in Google, I searched for most useless packages in the world. So I found isNumber, and isNumber is a package that has 250 million downloads per month and 3.9 giga downloads. I don't know what's a giga download, but it has, and GitHub, they say it's, I think they had a mistake, it's a billions. And this is the code of the package. It does actually nothing. Like it just checks if it is a number. But most packages, and if it's a direct dependencies or transitive dependency, use these kind of packages which are maintained by someone. They are maintained by someone out there. We don't know him, and this is why the OpenSSF created like a project to see how secure is a package. And if you can see, it got a score 4.8. It's not maintained. Nobody touched this package for 5 years now. There's no code review. There's no best practices. There's no branch protection. There is different like pin dependencies and license and binary artifacts there are. But as for if this package is maintained, nobody knows, and it's some random guy out there, and I don't know who maintains this even. But usually my package, my service will use it. So the question is, if this maintainer or if someone will change this package and just add this two lines like spawn hack system, and everybody knows that hack system hacks the system. So if he just changes it, what will happen is my packages will start like packages that rely on it and other services that rely on it will start getting hacked. And I can show you who can change this package. So first of all, the maintainer. And we saw there was an open source maintainer had colors, and he got mad on someone. I don't remember what happened, and he just like pulled the plug on colors, deleted it, or just upgraded it to something that doesn't happen. And you start seeing builds all over the world starting getting failed just because this one maintainer changed something. Another, we have hackers. If someone hacks into Core or C or UA parser JS that happened and had crypto mining, then they can hack. They can if there's no 2FA for this user, they can just hack their password. Usually, you can get the maintainer email and then find it on was this have I been owned, and just like go and get the passwords for them. So now NPM started like enforcing 2FA for popular packages, so it won't happen, but it's still. And I'm giving a lot of examples from NPM, but it happens also on Python repositories and Maven. It happens everywhere, just like NPM was in focus this year, and this is why most of the examples are from this. And we have confusion attacks. This is Alex Birsan made this year. I don't know how many people heard about confusion attacks? Okay, about like 1/3. So I will explain a bit. Confusion attacks is when there's two packages, one private and one public. Then the package manager just decides to take the most recent version. So if you have a private package that you're using, let's say Rotem 123, and someone else uploaded a public package named Rotem123 but with version 9, and my version is 8, the package manager will automatically take the public one and not the private one. And then you can just like upload a package over to the public and steal all the data from private repositories. So he hacked and he did like a lot of noise and a lot of money. So, and the question is, why is this happening? It's usually like if I would want to get a specific version of a package, I would want to ask for 1.2.3, like a 1.2.3 package. But then when I want to upgrade the package, it takes them a lot of effort, and developers don't like effort because it takes time. So there's a semantic versioning or other kind of upgrading versioning capabilities. So you can make the software automatic upgrade until what you want. And this tilde that you see here says that every minor version or patch version, that's the 2 and the 1 at the end, gets upgraded automatically if I install now a new package. So if I have a package JSON that has my package with 1.21, and now a maintainer creates a new version 1.2.2, then automatically my package manager will upgrade to this version. And this is not good. So to fix it, and we created like different types of log files, and each package manager has a different kind of log file. NPM has a package JSON log, and pip has a pip. You can have all requirements txt and freeze it, or pip file. And you have in Go, you have Go sum and different areas. But at the end of the day, it has the version that when the developer installed the package, it decided at the same point to download the specific version. Then it does an integrity check and has the hash. So if someone in the future, let's say, will download from a different repository or has a man-in-the-middle attack, then the integrity will be changed and the package manager won't install this file. So we have these log files, and they are very good, and if we use them properly, they can save our nights from getting hacked. I know sometimes it's nights, sometimes it's weeks, depends on the problem. And I want to start talking about what can go wrong in these areas. So can anybody say how many problems they can find here? This is a Docker file. It has a from node adding the package JSON, running npmi, and then npm start. Can someone say if he sees a problem? No. So I'll get you the answers. So first of all, when I use Docker file, the latest tells take the latest Docker file from the repository. So if someone just upgraded a new version, it will just download. Usually I would want it to be tagged to a specific version, or better, tagged to a specific hash. So it will download the specific hash that I checked and verified, and not just the latest thing that happens next time Kubernetes will restart the pod. Differently, there's the package JSON. What happened is in this Docker file, before it didn't have the asterisk, so it copied only the package JSON and not the package lock. It means that in the build systems inside everywhere, it won't use the package lock. So it's good because everything will work seamlessly until someone upgrades a bad package and everything will start failing. And at the end, there's a difference between npm I and npm CI. npm CI tells to make sure that the log file is there and is correct. If you run with npm I, if you don't have a package lock, it will install and create a package lock. If you run it with npm CI, if you have a package lock, it will fail. If you don't have a package lock, it will fail. Or if there's a difference between what's in the package JSON and the package lock, it will fail. This is what it's supposed to do. So this is different stuff that we need to put in consideration when creating Docker files. And I was playing and looking at AWS in the past, and I saw that AWS, the default Lambda function, when you create a default Lambda, it doesn't add asterisks and doesn't do npm CI. So I've been talking, and they changed it, and now all the Lambdas have a package asterisk, so it also copies the package lock files. They didn't want to put npm CI because they say it's not production and everybody should secure themselves. So we just added a comment at the end to run npm CI minus production. Or you should also add minus scripts only. I will get to it, but like no scripts. So it will be safe. So first of all, I want you to make sure when you go back home that you use log files. Like make sure that everywhere, if it's from Dockers or to npm or pip or Go, never forget the package lock. Use it in all the areas from the developer machine to the CI to the production itself. If you want to use npm CI, and we understand that we need to use npm CI, so this is the correct way. In the developer machine, the developer adds his version, like he says we support Axios 0.21.0, and then when the CI build, it will always install the version 0.21.4 because this is the latest. Then this is what was happened the moment he did npmi. He did full testing. He made sure everything works. He wasn't hacked. The CI build should also not be hacked in the same time. Now, this is a game that I, as a developer, also have a lot of troubles. And I am lazy and I don't want to download the repo to myself, add an npm install or upgrade some version, and then re-upload it. So sometimes I just go to GitHub and change only the package JSON. So in this case, I'm changing the package JSON to 21.1 or 25 or whatever I want. And then when I'm running npm CI, and I put here npm CI 6 because this is in npm 6, it's working good. It says, yeah, you have an invalid log file because you have a log file. It saved me, and I don't have. You change the package JSON, but it expects you to change the package lock to be the same, so it will know exactly what to download. So in this case, npm CI 6 failed, but I went and checked npm CI 7, and back in the start of the year, it was also on npm 8, like in the latest edition. And you can see that the same change exactly, but npm 7 continued. It said, yeah, there's an old log file, and it added 2 packages, and it went over and did what I wanted to do. So Like there was a breaking change, I think for 1.5 years in NPM that made NPM CI useless. When or not really useless, but when there was changes, then there can be a drift, and when developers change the package JSON file, there can be a change, and there will be a change that will install a different, like, so when I changed the to 21.1, it went and it didn't find it in the package JSON, so it went and installed 22. It installed a different version altogether. So this is funny. But also I will continue investigating this, and I found out that the package lock doesn't need to have anything at all. So if I just like minimize the package lock file to having nothing, just like brackets, it also worked. So it said, yeah, there's an ancient lock file. It's ancient. It doesn't have nothing in it. So let me create it for you, or let me just install everything for you. And this is actually pretty interesting because if you have different audit controls and SBOM and like SBOM is software bill of materials. So if you have different stuff that audit the package lock, you will see you have nothing over here, but you do have information and the stuff in package JSON. So you will see it, and you won't see it in the code. SBOM will be empty, but in production you will have all these packages and vulnerabilities if possible, and nobody knows about them. So after 1 year and a bit of discussions, the NPM files fixed it. They created a CVE. It got 9.8. I don't agree with it. It's not that critical, but it's fun to get a critical CVE. So they fixed it. They fixed it in 8.1.3. But still we have other problems floating on. And if you look in it's easy. You can just go to GitHub to the issues and look for different stuff. We have package lock JSON not noticed, not repaired automatically by NPM, or overrides not working correctly. So in the package JSON, you can override packages in inner packages to say you have to have these versions. So they're not working correctly. It's still in triage, and like one of the things that I want to make to you to know about it, that the package managers do stuff and they verify, but don't trust them. They don't really verify properly. Sometimes you always have to verify yourselves with external tools because they're not built for security. They're built for development, to make sure everything works, but security is not one of the use cases they were built for. A bit of my bug that I had, and last year I did a big research about malicious code analysis. That's how to hack the scanners themselves, like code scanning scanners. And I did it, I presented in DEF CON about it, but then I wanted to continue my research, and I saw if scanners are able to be hacked by different types of attacks I will show you. Also, maybe NPM and maybe other package managers can be hacked in the same way. So let's say we have npm CI -- ignore scripts. And -- ignore scripts, it makes sure that nothing will be run from the package JSON. So if you know in package JSON, you can run post install or pre-install, and when you are adding a dependency, it will run scripts. It will run shell scripts inside your CI. And we want to make sure nothing runs that we didn't want to run. So, for example, if I have like an npm token for my private registry, and I'm running npm CI ignore scripts, and then I can unset the npm token and run the scripts I want to run. This way, the script doesn't have access to my secret password to the registry. But npm specifically looks at different configuration files, and it will look up in the user directory, but it will also look in the project directory. So when you are inside the same project directory, it will look in the target if it has a .npmrc, and will load it. And loading it gives you different options. Sometimes it gives you people put the password inside, so a password to the registry over there. But I can override it with whatever I want. So I usually override it with a script that has a remote code execution. So inside my .npm-rc, I can load or unload that script that tells when npm loads, I run a script of my own. This happened in npm 6 and npm 7. They disable the script, so you can add a git script, so and have like a replacement git binary. And then when you try to clone from a git repository, it runs this alternative git client. So you can just like run code. So whenever you have .npm, you can just like inject this file and it will run your code. And the attack scenario is very simple over here. A developer, any developer, let's say we have an organization with 5,000 developers, or I don't know how many, 500, 1,000. We don't trust all of them equally. And the moment he pushes something .npm-rc into the repository, the CI executes the code. It starts like have access to the secrets, to the production access, network access, containers, whatever he wants. And this is a way for a developer from getting very specific permissions to have full production access. Full production access. But it happens also in Python. So pip install, usually if you install pip, then it looks for a setup py. Setup py is Python. I just like can import whatever I want. Like it doesn't. It's not like I have to be in the same like way. Add the requirements. Add everything. It's Python code. I just like hack it. I put my OS system. Who am I? Says exit and finish with doing whatever I want inside the pipeline. Same with requirements. Requirements is not Python actually, it's static code analysis, but it has different like flags. So if I put -r etc password, I can inside the requirements it goes and fetches. It tries to fetch a different requirements from etc passwd, and then if I have access to the logs, I can see it. Or I have a SSRF target, I can add a -r SSRF target. It will go and get it from it. We have Ruby bundle install. There's a gem file. The gem file is actually parsed by Ruby. So again, same, I just system who am I, whatever I want. All of the package managers, not all of them. I think Go I couldn't hack, but the other was. But others, it's very easy, and it's because they're designed to be developer friendly. The developers want to configure stuff, so it's very easy to configure. You just have full Python code or full execution code. So package managers at the end will execute code, and you need to understand that when running them inside different environments, code can be executed, so you need to put them into the right areas with no access to sensitive passwords and no access to file systems or network access or whatever. Just make sure, treat them as viruses. Vulnerability scanning. Let's say we have vulnerability scanning inside our systems, and we have npm audit, and we have different types of scanning that we want to make sure that dependencies they don't have any viruses. So let's say I have npm install, and this is npm install, but it does actually npm install does npm audit automatically, but I can also just do npm audit on the packages. And in pack resolver version 4.2.0, it has one high severity vulnerability, and then probably the CI should block the installation, and nothing can go, and they need to fix it. But if I alias the package in npm 6, then if I alias it, I do the pack resolver alias to the same version, then the npm audit doesn't know how to behave and it just passes. It doesn't tell me one package was skipped or was not verified. It audited all the 20 packages and found 0 vulnerabilities, and the same thing that 1 second ago was vulnerable. So if I as an attacker want to add a vulnerable package to a dependency on mine, I can just like alias it, and if someone uses npm 6, now in the CI, I don't know how many people know here what NPM version they're using, but I'm probably like it's some are using NPM 6, some are 7, 8. There's nobody really cares about which NPM version they're using because it's I know it's not something that people know of. Just like whatever was in the Docker file initially when they installed it. So usually, if you have node 16, it will have npm 6, and I think the new nodes have npm 8. Um, so another way is just like going and asking repository, like this is out of store packages. So if I go to GitHub and ask for a node pack resolver with branch 4.2.0, actually, this is something cool that npm does. It does go and resolves it and finds out it's a 4.2.0 and resolves the data and knows to find their vulnerabilities. This is some cool things they did. It's pretty nice. But if I change a bit the syntax and I put a dot over there after the .com, so they think it's not from GitHub anymore, and then it's out of store, or I can just host it in whatever server I want, any Git server, and then again it finds zero vulnerabilities. So it doesn't tell me nothing. I don't have any configuration to tell it if you could not audit it, break the build or tell me about it or do something. I added a request in the RFC to do it. They're still thinking about how to do this, but it's I would expect someone to have a flag, block the build if you cannot audit, or just tell me about it. Tell me there was one package that didn't was I was it was not able to audit it properly. And also, more complex thing is depends on recursive. So if I have my awesome project and I have is number or readable stream, but is number is using a subdependency that isn't auditable because it's out of store dependency, nobody will know about it. So now the question is like, do you know how many packages that are out of the package store and are skipped, and it's like too much work? SBOM also won't parse it. Nobody will know about it until it will get hacked, and then it will be too late. So, like, I think you should do your own SBOM vulnerability analysis. Never trust the package manager to do it for you, and that's it. A bit of this is I added it today, actually yesterday, because I saw that yesterday someone Christian added. So there's another way to hack dependencies. Last week, you can look for packages that don't have that the maintainer like had a domain, an email domain, and the email domain got deprecated or he doesn't own it anymore. So if you have a maintainer that doesn't own the email, so it's just like subdomain takeover, but just like email domain takeover. You just buy the domain from him, from GoDaddy or whatever, and then you can reset the password and get the same permissions of this package manager of this package. And what he did over here, he released inside in GitHub a tool to just enumerate all the packages whatsoever and see who doesn't have a domain associated, and you can just like take over it. We see then there's a tweet and in Twitter they're starting to talk about, yeah, I also created this and I also created this, and people are starting to talk about it like NPM, and nobody isn't doing nothing about it. And it's not only NPM. I'm taking it as an example, but everybody, if you have a maintainer somewhere, and this is like someone just like had the best meme. Your next task is to find all applications in your organization that depend on NPM packages that maintainers let their email domain expire. And this is like a nightmare. So I don't think like anybody can do it properly, or it's a big problem, and it's something that we need to be on it and understand how to do it and start like owning our packages. A quick recap. Package managers install what they want. They execute unwanted scripts. They have audit checks that are easily bypassed, and random people maintain packages. It's like you trust the world like for your all your services. Just like I fully trust everybody. Nobody will do no harm. I cannot like it's a problem because I rely them and I use also package managers all the time, but I can't live without them. I know they're bad, and we are working on making the world better. If you do have package managers, so first of all, make sure that you verify that there are log files. You manage the SBOM, the software bill of materials, so you can know when there's in the future, like tomorrow, there will be a new package. I don't know, dinosaurs got hacked. You can make sure in 5 seconds, 1 minute, just go to your SBOM, see, do I have dinosaurs package? If yes, go and check what is vulnerable. Go see which service is vulnerable, and if someone hacked into you already, or you need to just upgrade it. So you just like monitor everything all the time, but make sure because if not, it's just like you have to spend your night and starting to get all the SBOM data. Um, don't give them permissions. Run them in containers. Run them with minimum permissions. Isolate them. Like treat them as they should be. They don't need any access to nothing except download the package and then give someone else to install it. Audit checks. If you have audit checks, the same. Just run external audit checks. Don't use the built-in audit checks that they have. Take account of the specification file and the log file. The log file, they have different purposes and different life cycles. So inside the developer machine, usually the specification file is what counts. Inside the CI, you want to make sure that the log file, but then the log file is also the most like the correct source of truth will be inside the container. Inside the build itself, you can see like in Node, you have Node models. This is what was really installed. Monitor it. You can know the package lock because you want to shift left and do all the stuff you, for the developers to fix. But at the end, in the container itself will be the source of truth. And verify out of store packages. This is or just like know which out of store packages you have and make sure that nothing changes over there. Lock them, lock the hashes. I think that's it. I don't know how much time I have.
You have plenty of time. So
Yeah.
questions?
So I have 10 questions.
Good.
Oh.
I got two questions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the NPM hacks, the takeover of the domains, right? Earlier you talked, you mentioned that NPM also embedded 2FA now. So how does that work?
Yeah. So the question was also the NPM had the domain hacks, but also NPM had the 2FA. So NPM they didn't force 2FA yet. They are trying to roll out 2FA. They rolled it out to the high maintaining packages, but also 2FA is it's depends on how 2FA is done because if 2FA is still done with the email itself, then it's not really 2FA. So it's just like it works like that.
Okay, so it's a gamble. But
Yeah, but if
domains,
yeah, just buy all the domains.
I got another question. You mentioned that you played around with Go and wasn't that successful. Did you play around with Homebrew?
With Brew. No, actually, I didn't because Brew is like what I specialize in and what my research is stuff in the CI/CD, and Brew isn't is more like in the start of the developer line. Maybe one day I'll get over there, but it's not like in my focus that I'm looking at.
Cool, thanks.
Good.
Yes. What about what?
NuGets.
NuGets.
Microsoft.
Yeah, I didn't play with Microsoft yet. It's in my plan, but like I'm looking mainly. I think NPM is the most common package manager. Then pip. We have some customers with Ruby, so I looked at that. I don't know. I don't like .NET. But
Good. You got it in there. So npm install questions? No?
yeah, here.
Dash force?
Yeah, we have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Can I?
Private repository. Can you run a private repository?
Yeah, yeah, you can. Like lots of companies use like a private repository like JFrog or something else. The thing is, usually the private repository will be proxied and mirrored by the public repository. Actually, a good recommendation of mine, and I didn't see anybody doing it yet. But if you can proxy the public repository, but give it a delay of 2 weeks, then let the shit hit the fan for all the world, and you will be getting the new updates only after 2 weeks, and that way you can get protected. If everybody will do it, then we will have after 2 weeks, but that's a bit different game. Yes. You want to,
So can you force npm to only use
yeah.
your source of truth?
I think you can to use only your private, but then your private is mirrored to the public. So unless you're on an on-prem closed solution, you will always need a way to get new data. Like your developers will hate you if you don't get the updated versions all the time.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks is a good solution. Just if I inject a .npmrc and tell it to go to public. So yeah, there's a bypass. You just need to make sure that nobody adds a .npmrc before you run it. Because if you have a .npmrc, then someone can just change the registry to the public one back, or block the whole network to public and get everybody work through Citrix and like in the old days. Again, the developers will hate you.
Anyone else? Okay. Then I guess thank you very much for this very interesting talk.
Thank you.